Hello guys. So if you're tuning in to this after I've been live, today we're gonna work on some fishing and go test some stuff. Maybe some PvP, I don't know yet. Fishing is probably the most irritating profession to level up at the very beginning when you're constantly missing your casts, but I think I've gotten past that point and I'm at 35, so should be good. There's one spot in particular though that I want to go test today. It's in Stranglethorn Vale. I want to just see, I'm going to take my 25 there as well and just see how the mobs are in the area, if it's even really doable, and if we can't do it there, we'll try and find a different location. Definitely leveling fishing is a great thing to also level cooking at the same time. You get a lot of junk fish that you can go ahead and make into something. It allows you to kind of double up on finishing two professions at once. STV near Gromgol. From Booty Bay you can swim to the pirates area. There's some areas with no pirates near the shore. Best fishing spot, Tenera shoreline. Yeah, I know about the Tenera shoreline. I want to check out one spot that I want to check out on stream today. It's a specific spot in STV just because I think I might be able to get two things done there at the same time for farming. We'll just have to see how the mobs are. But I'm thinking just about all the fishing and farming and all that kind of stuff. It might be beneficial to do a lot of this because leveling isn't going to take a huge amount of time, especially if the runes really speed things up. I'm thinking about leveling a hunter to play one at 25 for fun, but also just I think farming on a hunter would be really, really efficient. For example, if you have a gathering profession and you're in an area with higher level mobs, you can just have your pet tag the mob and hold the mob while you quickly gather it, and then you can just run off. Especially if you have a tanky pet, something like a turtle or something. Just go Beast Mastery Talents too to just kind of beef up your pet a bit, and would make. And then obviously you have aspect of the cheetah. Running around gathering would be pretty quick. Might be the play. We also got to look at some fishing poles. I know of a few, but I just wanted to kind of double check on fishing poles, see what the best one we'll be able to get is. And I think just getting fishing leveled and done by Sunday, which I think it comes out on Thursday. Let's see, the 30th is, yeah, Thursday. So you'll have like roughly two to 3 days, depending on like time and everything, to get fishing leveled up for the fishing tournament on Sunday. Now, obviously, I don't know for sure if it's going to be there, but I'm pretty sure the fishing tournament will be live on that day. And then I also have a piece of information pulled up, answered from a Blizzard employee that says maybe there will be new elites in certain zones or new events related to the fishing tournament. So who knows if there'll be any new fishing things to look out for, but definitely fishing will be one of those professions that I'll be spending some time on. 1,000 Needles will be on lockdown for silk, iron, some mithril, and herbs. Centaur and Grim Totem area. Some mithril in Stone Talon. Yep, good points. I think I was kind of thinking about, I don't know how much I'm going to worry about mithril. I know you need it to get to the very top ends of engineering and blacksmithing, but I don't really know if I'm gonna, there's not a huge amount of things at like 200 to 225 from engineering that I think are super beneficial. I just more want to get to I believe it's 175 for the iron grenades. After that, I'm like a little bit more, like I'll level it, but probably won't worry about it too much. But I mean, we'll have to see how mithril sells for, like if a lot of people are wanting it. But iron and like Arathi, I was thinking Arathi Highlands for iron and herbalism on a hunter would be pretty nice. You also can kill some mobs there, or some cloth if you have a few people. We'll have to see. I don't know. I got to think about ways to get Mage Weave as well. Mage Weave is going to be a bit harder, but you'll be able to make Mage Weave bandages, which will heal you for a huge chunk of health. So they might be really nice in PvP. Because I think, let's look here. So there's the song friendly. So at level 20, you just get silk bandages. Now buying these specifically for Warsong might be nice just to cut down on costs, but it's not like you can get the really nice Mage Weave ones for Warsong specifically. I know you can only use these inside Warsong Gulch, but yeah, you can't even get those because they have a level requirement for them. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. From the trunks is pretty much your best bet. But man, stacks of Mage Weave are probably going to be fairly expensive. If the extravaganza will be live, it may be bugged like on Era, where it allows for multiple winners as time passes. Oh, really? I didn't know that it's bugged like that on Era. That's interesting. I knew you could keep, like, obviously, I knew you could keep fishing for rewards and stuff, or like the rewards, not like the main, the fishing lure and stuff, but the like hat and the boots and the Eternium line or whatever it's called. I knew you could fish for those after someone wins the event, but I didn't know you could win the event. Weird. Hi mate, any plans to make more Druid play video or guides? Yeah, I mean, like, that's my Druid will be my main focus once I actually can play Season of Discovery. In terms of Druid on just classic Era, I'm not gonna level a Druid on classic Era, but I'll be leveling, like, Druid will be my main on Season of Discovery. Looks like an intended change. The NPC respawns every some minutes, and you take a winner again. I mean, that kind of makes sense with like how the servers are, because obviously if you're on a populated server, then it's kind of like, you know, rip in terms of everything else. You think, well, how strong are Pharaohs going to be? You think they're going to be OP? Not going to lie. I think they're going to be strong, definitely. Like, in a PvE sense, I think Pharaohs will be very strong, and obviously, especially on the Alliance, but even on the Horde side, depending on like what you're running with, it'll be beneficial to take just for the Wind Fury totem. Or not the totem, but you as a cat being a moving Wind Fury. Yeah, I don't know. We'll have to see how good they are. I mean, I've told a lot of people when they come in here and ask me about what I think is going to be like the best DPS or this, that. I can't really comment because we've seen some of the runes, but we don't know the end game runes. We don't know how other classes are going to stack up against them. But yeah, I mean, they're definitely going to be doing a lot more damage than they are now. But so is every other class. So it'll just be interesting to see like kind of what we see at 60. And I think it will be fun. I think it would be really fun if I hope Warcraft Logs has parses, like you can be able to parse at level 25, just because I think that would be fun outside of a competition thing, but just as exciting to see kind of what shenanigans people get up to. Why specifically Alliance? Well, they just won't have shamans on the Alliance side, so if you want Wind Fury, so on Horde side, you'll have Druids that can give you Wind Fury and Shamans that can give you Wind Fury. So you have like, it's like a 50-50 option of who you want to take for that, to fill that slot. But on, oops, clicked my wrong button. On Alliance side, you only can take Druids because you won't have Shamans there for that. Pounce and Savage Roar 30%. Tiger Fury, Renataki. Mangle. I was confused for a second there on the Tiger Fury. Yeah, you're basically getting a Renataki's trinket from Tiger Fury. It's really crazy. 3-time Mangle, 5-point Rip, 3 to 4k bleed damage from Rip only. Yeah, I mean, I think Druids are going to be strong, but what you're pointing out like sounds OP, right? It sounds just disgusting. But if you have another class that gets, like if you look at some of the warriors abilities, you know, they're getting like huge, just like sweeping buffs across the board. So it could be one of those things that Druid is like more in line with other classes. It could be that Druid gets a huge DPS buff, but other classes get huge DPS buffs as well. So they're still, you know, mid-range. Feral Druids can pump out decent DPS right now. It's just kind of complicated, and you have to be a decent player, and you have to kind of know the rotation and everything, and be willing to go out and farm like pummelers and get the right kind of gear and everything. But I think it's pretty easy to say at least Feral Druids will be more like in line with other classes. Who knows how strong they'll be though. What class is the most underwhelming in SOD at the moment? Least hype for? Priest. Oddly enough, Priest is really low on like the list of what people want to play. It was actually the least, and that was a survey of 5,000 people, and Priest was at the very bottom. And I assume that's because a lot of Priest abilities are a little bit lackluster and underwhelming. But I think priests are going to pop off at level 40. They're gonna have shadow. They're gonna have shadow form then, and probably a lot of their runes will be able to more directly deal with having shadow form. So that's just a personal opinion, but yeah, right now priests are definitely kind of lower on the like hype list for people to play. Feral is too energy and combo starved to really manage 100% uptime on Savage Roar and Rip. Could be the case. Again, like we really don't know. We really don't know all of the different runes yet. So there could be a rune at level 40, a rune at 50, or a rune at 60 that really changes up the way that you'd play a certain class. So at this point, it's really all just speculation. 30% bleed damage from Mangle, 30% from Savage Roar, and keep in mind Cat form gets 6 crit and flat 10 ER. A little confused on what you're... The thing to note though about the 30% bleed damage and 30% Savage Roar, and this is how a lot of things in Classic scale, or a lot of things in Classic don't really stack. So it's going to be on your base. Oh, damage reduction. Okay, yeah. The damage reduction obviously is nice for like certain stuff, but in general, it shouldn't have a huge impact in PvE. But yeah, I get what you're saying. The 30% stacking, sometimes you'll think of that as like a flat 60%, which is good to do because it's most likely going to be on the base. So actually it will, like, what do I mean most likely? It will be on the base. So it's not like once you pop the 30%, it's going to take that into account and then do 30% of that. So it's just always your base AP or like base strength. I think there's probably a few things in the game that it's not like that, but that's like pretty much how it is. But yeah, I mean, all the things you're saying is like I'm totally in agreement. It sounds like Feral Druid's going to be pretty strong, but again, when you look at other classes, they have a lot of crazy abilities too. Like, I mean, Hunters, if you look at it, they'll have like, you know, and I'm just pulling this out of my ass, I don't really know. It's like, you know, 10% more crit, and they'll have a built-in like expose armor and different things like that, where that will also drastically improve Hunter's DPS. So when everyone's getting an increase in their DPS, it can often look like your class is getting a huge buff, but then everyone's getting buffed, so it's kind of a wash in the end. 0% hype for Rogue. I think there's a decent amount of people out there that are excited for it, but most of those people are already like maybe Rogue players. So I kind of get what you're saying. It's not like it's drawing new people to the class. And also, with someone pointed this out, it's kind of funny, all of the classes that are traditionally like the most overpowered in Classic, like Mage, Rogue, Warrior, and I'm not saying necessarily just for PvE, I'm saying PvP OP, like they're OP in PvP or PvE or farming or any of those kind of things. A lot of those classes are actually at lower on the list of what people are excited for. So I'm assuming that's because a lot of people played maybe one of those classes in Classic, and now they know changes are coming to the other classes, so they're looking to try something new out, which is totally fine. Definitely not energy started at 60. I would rotate, rip, ferocious bite when I was not tanking. Yeah, but that's also probably because you're power shifting. I'd assume. They're a hype for warriors too. Yeah, and again, I think there's just not like I would suggest for players, and this is kind of also what I'm doing for myself, play the class that not only looks like it's going to be fun at 25 and just looks enjoyable, but also make sure you play the class that you enjoy in general. Oh, hey, buddy. I saw that you waved at me, so I was like somewhere nearby, but I'm zoomed in. Do you think there will be a lot of hunters still, or are they finally getting out of fashion? I think there's going to be a lot of hunters still. Hunters sound extremely exciting to play. And when I when I say extremely exciting to play, some of their runes are not that exciting, but some of their runes aren't that exciting, but like they're going to be pretty strong, I think. Like Hunter's Pet's going to scale. You have more ways of playing. You have melee hunters. You have traps being able to be used in combat, it looks like. You might even have some kind of trap launcher ability at some point. I just think in general hunters are looking pretty strong. You're rolling a priest. They said in the Q&A you can pick shadow runes while holy. But ignoring that fact, plus healing gear isn't good for DPS. Priest once again begging for spell power gear. Yeah, and I think Blizzard will have some sort of answer for that in terms of gearing, because obviously, if you want to play a enhancement shaman, or you want to play a feral druid, or you want to play, what else is out there? Yeah, like a shadow priest, Ellie shaman. A lot of times you cannot pick from your actual tier gear because it might be for a different spec. So you're having to pick up like random pieces, and oftentimes you get into like Nax or AQ40 and you're wearing like random pieces from either a dungeon still because it's your best in slot, or you'll have a random piece from like MC here or BWL there or ZG there. So it's just like it's kind of frustrating as like a hybrid player. So I think they'll have some kind of something in place for that, whether it's you know, tier sets for each spec or a way to, I don't know, get those stats from a rune or something. I don't know. SOD will be a great time. Don't worry about min-maxing all the fun out of it in the first month. Chill, relax, and enjoy. It'll be wild beta test for the real Classic Plus announcement at the next BlizzCon. I agree. I think it's going to be a lot of fun, and people should just kind of enjoy it for what it is and not be too upset if it's not exactly what they hoped for. In terms of them announcing a Classic Plus at the next BlizzCon, maybe. I feel like that's a little soon though, but it might be. Or they'll hint at something like that. But a year seems kind of quick. Damn it, I keep eating my food by accident. Oh, you're talking about in PvP, not PvE? Yeah. It's hard to tell. It's hard to tell with a lot of people because some people really are when they talk about like classes, they're talking about only in a PvE sense. Some people are talking all around. Some are talking PvP. The key will be you do finish moves at 4 combo points unless you crit at 3 to get 5. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of obviously dangerous to... Not dangerous, but it just can be a DPS loss to be trying for 5 combo points when you get, you know, a crit, and then you would have gotten... It's like 4 to 6, or... Yeah, I get what you're saying. You're excited for Feral with the Shred buff? Yeah, I mean, in general, the tools that... There's some of the tools that Feral are going to have for Burst, with like an energy regen like on cooldown, and some of the damage increases that they're getting. I think they'll have a nice burst from an opener, which is good because traditionally Ferals is kind of like you open, but it's like a slow roll. You try and get a few bleeds on, then you try and get your hots up, and then you're pretty much kiting or going in bear form. You're hyped for Warrior? Fresh Classic is always hype. Yeah. And I think Warrior will get a lot of love. I think they still... I'm fairly certain that Warriors will still be either #1 or very high on the DPS list, but probably just not by as huge of a margin. And the reason I say that is Warrior is a little bit one-dimensional in terms of like you're playing it to do damage, so there's not going to be that calling for players to play Warrior if they are not very high on damage. Whereas like if a Shadow Priest isn't very high on damage, players are more okay with that because they have kind of a large set of things that class can do. Maybe 2 years away, sure. Yeah, I could see it being something like that. Or like you said, if they did do something at BlizzCon, I feel like it would just be a hint. But hey, we could be wrong. This SOD kind of came out of the middle of just like, I don't know, it was pretty sudden, and the fact that at BlizzCon they're like, you can play it in like 30 days was not what I expected. Farn Warrior is sitting at the auction house in Defies Pillager with your name. Oh, really? That's cool. There will be few seasons before any long Classic Plus. SOD will likely take 2 years if popular. Yeah, I think for Blizzard, it's just all about the metrics. Like, if each phase players are burning out pretty quick and logging off, then they're gonna release the phases faster between. And then, you know, if the first phase people are, you know, it wouldn't make sense if every you know, 2 or 3 days, Blizzard's numbers are going up on active players on Season of Discovery on Phase 1 at level 25, and it just continued that way every few days, there would be no reason to ever move past Phase 1, right? If you're looking at it from purely a player interest and money-making venture for them. So it's really, I think they're not giving any hard dates because they're probably just going to do everything based off of metrics and like you know, involvement with like how many people are logging on, playing, and all that stuff. Traps in combat is strange if they still keep the cooldown at 15 seconds. Yeah, I don't know. We'll have to see. I mean, you could argue as a hunter that you know, more classes are getting gap closers or ways to stop me from just kiting them, so I need more ways of getting the player off of me. So I feel like that's kind of the slippery slope of class changes, is every time you give another class something else that makes them stronger, it's like you either have to like allow them to be stronger than another class, or you have to equally counter in some way for the other class, and then you just kind of have that power creep and everything. So that's my only concern with all the classic rune changes. We'll have to see. And I mean, they've already said that, you know, classic's not going to be balanced, and I think we as players know that. And if it's really popular, they said it may become its own era. Yeah, I did hear that. Or at least like a way to keep your character around and play. What do you think about the level floors stuck at level 25? I mean, I personally, when I did the closed beta at level 30, that was some of the most fun I've had in the game. So I'm personally extremely excited for level 25. I think players find new and weird ways to do stuff at the lower levels. And it's always like a unique experience. And it's, especially if they never do a season quite like this again, then, I mean, it's one of those things that you get to play it once and we might not see it in this fashion ever again. So it's obviously just a unique experience as well. And hey, it might be like, you know, 2 weeks into level 25, we're all like, man, this sucks, and we're kind of ready for the next thing. But I mean, like I said, Blizzard's probably going to look at the metrics, and if not as many people are logging on, they'll probably speed up the phase. My thoughts on faction balance? We'll have to see. I definitely think that, yeah, we'll have to see. I think it's going to be like 60-40 alliance, unless they add some really good stuff to incentivize players to be on Horde side. I don't know whether to pick a class I played a lot and experienced all the SOD changes, or a class that I have little to no experience in for something entirely fresh. Yeah, I mean, I'm right there with you. I'm making a Druid because I think the changes look fun, and also I just love the class. And obviously people who like my content would be probably a little bit disappointed if I didn't play Druid. But I'm when I read the changes for other classes or what they have in the pipeline, yeah, it really excites me for those classes too. So I think it's going to be a hard choice for most people in terms of what they want to play. You might just have to do some experimenting, you know, with the first phase, just level a few characters into the, you know, mid-teens or something and feel out what you like. If the community didn't force Blizzard to release hardcore, SOD would have released at BlizzCon. Yeah, you could argue that. I don't know how much resources was really given to hardcore, but I think they're probably happy with doing hardcore. I mean, the Makara was a huge success. I don't play hardcore, but I enjoy watching some of the content around hardcore. Warrior getting percentage damage increase seems pretty top dog still. If world buffs stay in the game, yeah, I think they'll still be pretty strong. You're planning on staying on classic train going into Kata until the SOD announcement. Dev interviews I watched, I think SOD might drastically hurt Kata population next year. Yeah, and I mean, I know like the echo chambers of like WoW Classic subreddit or the forums aren't necessarily the vast majority of players. There's a lot of people that just play the game and they don't go on the forums and stuff, but from a lot of stuff I had read before any announcements, when people would say like, you know, what what do people want to see Classic go in, like in what direction. And I feel like across the board everyone would say, you know, to me Kata is not really Classic. Classic ends with Wrath, and a lot of people were just saying like not really very interested in Kata. So it'll be interesting to see like the player population and see how many people turn up. SOD gated leveling content allows you to do Kata and SOD. That's true. I mean, it allows you to play both. I'm sure there's people out there that will do just that. I'm not sure how serious you can take that 5K voted class popularity poll. Probably people will re-roll a lot. Will probably be the same balance as currently on Era. We'll have to see. Yeah, I mean, like I know that the sample size for like those polls are skewed because obviously a small amount of people. It's also the people that are like active on the forums, and a lot of times the forums kind of hype things up. So that's something to take into consideration. But let's see where. Oh, 3 minutes. Okay. Okay, we're gonna log for 2 minutes. I just need 2 minutes till I can cap those buffs again. Actually, while I do that, I'll log onto this character to get it ready to test some stuff. Yeah, I mean, I don't think those surveys or whatever that people do necessarily show you the whole population. And like you said, people will re-roll based on how they're feeling. But I do think that's like somewhat an indication of the hype behind something, right? Like it shows that people, it's like the two-handed shaman thing that everyone is talking about on the forums and stuff. It's like, how many people actually play two-handed shaman? Most of the people that are posting like about the two-handed shaman changes and stuff don't even play the class. They're just kind of like, it's like that mob mentality where people are like, yeah, man, that does piss me off. I am mad about that. And it's like, wait, why? You don't even play the class. Well, it just doesn't sit right with me, you know, because my favorite streamer said it doesn't work. I don't know. I kind of feel like that's a little bit of the Classic subreddit where it's like, as soon as people start talking about how Ret Paladins are going to be like so broken, everyone's like, yeah, Ret Paladin's going to be busted, and then it just kind of trickles down with everything. So my assumption is all the hype behind certain classes is a lot of because they're just the ones that are getting talked about because so far they have the, you know, coolest sounding abilities or something like that. Just watching the closed Classic beta was awesome. Yeah, I think it was so much fun. The only issue that I have, and I've made this statement, is like, so everyone was like doing PvP and doing events and kind of curating their own content in the game, but also most of the people in the Classic beta were like streamers or had connections at Blizzard or this, that, or the other thing, and I think that does skew like how people played the beta and why it was so fun, because people were trying to do the most entertaining things or put on events or put on dueling tournaments. So I don't know if it'll be like quite like that at 25, but we'll see. You know, sometimes people just make things extremely fun and exciting just because they know their communities are watching and they want to put on a good show or whatever. Okay. Testing fishing? What's there to test? I'm just looking to see some of the spots that I'll be able to do at 25 and see kind of what the mobs are like in the area and if they'll constantly be a problem for a 25. Just something to do kind of while I chat with you guys. This is as much for me as it is for you guys, by the way. Like, I stream because I enjoy just talking about SOD and getting excited about it, because I, like many of you, are getting hyped for it, and there's not really an outlet for that at the moment. Just fish Moonglade. No, I mean that's actually a pretty good option for Druids. So less competition probably. Not many other 25s that aren't a Druid are going to take the time to run there. A lot of the fish that you get there will not be usable or like utilized till later levels, but that's okay. You can save them on an alt or something. Kata will have an increase in players over time. Hold on, I need to train. I should have just capped, right? What am I doing? 75, yeah. Fresh hype lead up to fresh is always fun. I know. I just like, that's the problem for me is when, like, before when you were in the dark about them doing Season of Discovery or any kind of classic changes, or even putting out a classic server, it's just ignorance is bliss. And then as soon as they announce it, it's just, as a, I don't know, classic player, it's just hard to stop thinking about, because it's like, yeah, I enjoy playing on classic era, but it's kind of the same old, and everyone has like Nax gear and whatnot, so it's not that fresh experience. Kata will have an increase in player over time because it was a great expansion. Once the party poopers has gotten over their tantrum, they'll realize they're missing out on great content. I agree and disagree. I think Kata has, or Kata was a fun expansion, especially for like, I really liked the PvP. Obviously, like Feral Druids were a lot of fun in Kata with bleed damage and everything. Moonkin was fun. Moonkin was a lot of fun. But I like so much of success in terms of classic and WoW in general is about like population and hype and what like people are putting their time and effort into. For example, if the population there is really poor, it's kind of like a, I don't know, it kind of builds on itself. Like when people start to leave, like it's less likely that more people will come in, and it's less likely that people will be talking about it. It's kind of what we saw with classic era servers for the longest time. They were pretty much completely dead, and no one was really playing on them except, you know, a handful of people. But then once like the hype starts coming, then the servers pop off. So yeah, we'll just have to see on Kata. I don't know. Balance did not only have a mana problem, the damage was also meh. Yeah, I mean, but that's the issue. It's like you're a hybrid class, so as soon as you start buff, like say you buff Balanced Druid's mana and you buff their damage, and they still can heal and have access to their full toolkit, then you make them super strong in PvP. So those are all things that make just straight up balancing a class difficult, and I definitely feel for Blizzard when it comes down to making the right changes and decisions to try and not only make players happy, but also make things like somewhat playable and fair and fun. So we all agreed two-handed enhance is the best? Something like that, right? You think damage was low because their rotation was downrank spells? True, and not being able to put up dots, and there's a lot of things. Yeah, the changes to Hurricane will be pretty strong for AoE, for sure. Seems like they're trying to give a lot of the classes like Shadow Priests and stuff like better AoE, which I don't really know if I necessarily like. I feel like that was a lot of people's irritation with modern WoW, is like everything is like group up a big group of mobs and then AoE them all down, and I don't know. it's hard to pick the perfect kind of setup to make everyone happy. Like, if you look at posts, and you can do this, you can look at posts right before BlizzCon. Everyone, like, people were saying, like, how likely is it that Blizzard does like Classic Plus, right? Everyone is like saying, oh, it's a pipe dream, like, oh, it's not gonna happen. If Blizzard did Classic Plus, like, they would do like hardly anything because of budget, and they don't want to put too much money into Classic and blah blah blah. And then at the same time, you have people saying, like, oh, but I really hope they do it. I really hope, like I'd be happy with even some small changes just to make you know, Classic Plus a thing. Like, we all know that it would be so cool. And then the next day, like, they announce Season of Discovery, and everyone's like, I hate it. This sucks. Like, this is not what I wanted. And it's like, well, man, you just, like, they can't do right, and they like, no matter what they do, everyone's upset with them. So to me, I'm just trying to enjoy the ride, and hopefully everything is fun and feels like Classic, because I know that's a big concern that everyone has, including me. Like, I hope it feels like Classic, but at the same time, I'm trying to be, like, fairly positive about it. Trying to go 3 classes: Hunter, Warrior, Shaman. Nice. I think all those are pretty solid picks. I feel like I can't really enjoy Retail, Wrath, or Era right now, because I know in 2-ish weeks I'm going to be playing SOD, and my other tunes won't matter for a while. Yeah, I know. That's kind of how I've been handling things. And like for example, in the game, it's just like most of the stuff I am doing, I'm doing it in the vein of like thinking of SOD. So like, I want to test a few things for 25, which is kind of pointless because it's like, who cares? Happy to see the changes, but concerned about them breaking the rock paper scissors meta by making everyone good at everything. Rock paper scissors makes the game accessible and fun for everyone. Yeah, exactly. And it makes like it makes those upsets even better in terms of, like, if you watch like dueling tournaments, obviously anytime you have those big upsets, it's super cool. But then you also know, like, you know, going into a Mage versus Warlock duel, a lot of people kind of know what the outcome's going to be. And I don't really think there's anything wrong with that in Classic. It's kind of like mages can do some things great that other classes can't do, and other classes, you know, succeed at other things. But yeah, that is what I'm worried about. You're close to your Shadowmourne, that keeps you in Wrath for the time. Yeah, that's one thing that would keep me coming back. It'll be fun either way, at least as a one-off set of changes and balances. Yeah, that's kind of how I'm trying to look at it. It's a seasonal thing. I think it was smart that they chose to do it as a season. And the funny thing is, I kind of actually think that they had other plans and maybe changed. Because if you look back to, it was like an interview after like a hardcore tournament or something, and I think Sarth was like interviewing a guy, and he said, it was like one of the developers, and he said, like, we have plans for something after hardcore, but it's not necessarily a new season, or he said something like that. So I feel like maybe internally they were kind of thinking along the lines of Classic Plus, and then they realized that this was a great opportunity for them to use the seasonal, like, kind of the way of pushing out seasons as a way of like testing stuff before they really commit to something. So that's kind of how I see it. So, but yeah, we'll see. I'm just gonna try and enjoy it, have fun, and not be too tied up with the ins and out of things. You're super hype. Mage seems busted. Yeah, Mage seems strong, but I mean, that's what I keep telling everyone. When you say Mage is strong, and then someone else will say, You know, feral DPS seems like OP, and then someone comes in and says hunters just seem like they're going to be insane. Well, I mean, hey, when everyone's insane, no one's insane, so we'll have to see how all the changes pan out. That's why there's a lot of people out there that have been asking me to do like a abyss list for organizing the classes, and I did think about doing that, but then I just realized like everything is just complete, like a shot in the dark. Even knowing some of the runes, it's still just, we'll have no idea the balance at level 60. I don't even think Blizzard will, because they even said themselves if something's really imbalanced, they'll tune it, work on things over time. So people all need to accept the fact that they have aged some 10-20 years and expect it to be something from 2006. Yeah, I mean, that's kind of the risky part for Blizzard, is like when you put out just a fresh classic server, besides like server stability and like launch day and all that stuff, a player can't really get too upset with the developers because they're just launching something that we already know and we've seen before. Whereas any kind of new changes, even so much as like adding Chrono Boon into the game, it comes with a lot of people having mixed reactions to things. So that's kind of the problem with classic players, and I feel like just like communities in general, anytime there's like a change with something, or you know, people just have mixed feelings about it, I guess. Wonder if there will be a new AoE damage farm group now that Warlock Rain of Fire ability mixed with Mages, Blizzard slow, maybe one Pally tank with Consecrate could be nuts. Yeah, I mean, my 2 cents on that is I think you would really see that. I feel like you would really see that if it was 1 to 60, right? Because people would be like rushing to Endgame, but I feel like the great part about the level cap is you're a little bit less incentivized to just go out and like spam dungeons. I think still it's like a valid way of leveling, but you find the runes out in the world, so it kind of benefits you to be out in the world. You can theory craft on like a dungeon run build, but it's probably not going to be feasible at the beginning because you don't know where all these runes are that you're working with. So I could see something between 25 to 40, and then the subsequent phases being something like that, because you kind of have like really good gear. You can jump, you know exactly what your class does at that point. You can jump into a dungeon at 25 and power level. So I could see that being the case, but I think the first phase you're going to see a lot of people just kind of questing. Initially, I wanted to start with Holy Pally, then an alt Hunter, but the more I theorycraft Hunter, I wanted to main it and alt the Holy Pally. Yeah, Hunter seems like it's going to be... Hunter seems like it's going to be really fun, and also it's going to have a high skill cap, so I think anyone who chooses to go Hunter is going to be able to, I don't know, have one of those classes that it feels rewarding, like the more you play it and the better you get at the class. And also the pet scaling stuff is just going to be really nice, because that's a huge issue in Classic. Just like at max level your hunter pet, like once you get gear, your hunter pet just seems like it does absolutely nothing, and it just dies so quickly too. That's kind of why you end up seeing everyone with the wolves, because it's just like, all right, I might as well get Ferocious Howl and then send my pet in every once in a while, but mainly it just sits by my side. But there's going to be a lot of new players that die to Hunter Pet solo. Yeah, probably. Especially with some of the BM runes, they're going to be pretty strong. So much variables, one could make a guess about late game, but there's nothing based on knowledge to be said. Yeah, I mean, it's just complete shot in the dark at this point. They're going to be adding all this expansion stuff. I want the other classes dumb them down by keeping the essence. A little confused on what you mean by their War Tome. From what I can see now, I'm worried about Warrior late game. All the plus damage from runes seem stacking them. Oh, you see them stacking that at 60 again? I personally, and I don't know if other people feel the same way, but I personally think that warriors should be number 1 in DPS, but I just don't think by the margin that they are. And I think that other classes should be able to compete, and maybe if you have a player that's a little bit better gear and also maybe knows their rotation a little bit better or has a little bit more skill, they beat out warriors in the raid. But I think warriors being close to number 1, and then also, you know, rogues and mages up there as well. Maybe not as much mages, but rogues definitely. Probably hunters, you could say, as well. Those feel like, I feel okay with them being number 1 because they don't really have that much outside of doing the most DPS for their class, right? You could say warriors can tank, yeah, that's true. But beyond that, it's like, what are you playing a warrior for? To do big damage. So I feel like if warriors were like low on the numbers, right? They were like, you know, above, like below ret paladins, and they're just not doing much damage. Like, why is anyone going to play the class? So I think warriors being high on there is not a big issue for me, but I just don't want them to be like outpacing everyone by miles, so then everyone just plays warrior. Shadow Priest AoE might even be good, to be honest. Yeah, it looks fairly strong, especially like the dot spread and everything. I mean, if you look at vanilla, most groups are full of warriors and rogues because they are the most OP DPS in the game. Now with SOD, people can play other DPS classes, which means better loot distribution. True. Definitely agree with that. Love the leveling phases. It doesn't rush anything, makes it slow. Defias chest feels like an epic. It's awesome. Yeah, totally agree. Love the way they chose to do the phases. Allows people to get a chance to level up, catch up with people that are like no-lifing it, and allows them to kind of enjoy endgame and gear up at around the same time as other people. They're adding expansion spells and abilities, then I would expect and want the monk and death knight class, if not demon hunters. Dumb them down so they fit classic plus era. Yeah, I could see why people argue for that, but I don't think they would ever do that. Just I just don't think, I think you would alienate too many of the real hardcore classic WoW fans, and you're not really like getting a big upside to that. Like, for example, I would rather see them add some things to existing classes to kind of give them some of those flavor items. Like maybe if you're a night elf hunt or a night elf warrior, you're getting a few demon hunter abilities, kind of how they have the priest stuff. I know Kevin Jordan back in the day said that was a little bit of their intent, but I don't know. That stuff's just like a slippery slope. It's like, and that's what I have to tell myself, is like, what I want in the game isn't necessarily what you want in the game. And so it's Blizzard's job to try and bring it to a relative like middle ground, happy medium, so that you have the most people excited and happy about things without upsetting the majority of people. Better loot distribution. Maybe you didn't hear all the weapons are hunter weapons. Yeah, we'll have to see what they do to loot. We don't know. We don't even know how loot is going to work at level 60. We don't know if they're going to do tier tokens because they might be looking at changing up some of the tier sets for classes. We don't know if they're going to add more loot to the game, similar to like, because they're adding a lot of loot to BFD. So I don't know. It's all just guesswork at this point. More pole arms and fist weapons? Yeah, that'd be kind of cool. I'd love to see druids have the ability to... let's see, which ones do I want? Have the ability to use pole arms like they were able to in Wrath or TBC. I can't remember which one. I think it was even TBC where they could use pole arms. It was pretty much right away. Level 60, everyone will discover an artifact weapon like Legion and never get weapon upgrades again. Please God, no. Yeah. That would definitely not feel good. Yeah, too, that they have to make Hunter Rune is 8 out of 8 Dragonstalker. Yeah, there's a few of those super strong tier pieces, or tier bonuses that I'm sure they kind of looked at and changed up. Some fine pole arms and fist weapons would be fun. We know they have to add loot to 60 because nothing really supports hybrid classes. True. I mean, well, it's either adding loot or kind of changing the loot they have in the game right now. They talked about adding new legendary weapons, so Ashbringer confirmed. Yeah, I'm kind of worried with... I hope they don't go too overboard with things. I think most players in the Classic... And maybe maybe they're actually using Season of Discovery just to kind of push the boundaries and really see what people like and what they don't like, what works, what doesn't work, and just kind of using this as like completely just going crazy with stuff, right? I can see that. What I don't want to see is if they do come out with like a Classic Plus where it's like a set in stone server where it's not seasonal, for them to be doing too many crazy things that you see in like retail. What am I testing? Right now I'm just trying to hit like 150 with fishing, and then I can use a bauble. But I just wanted to get my fishing leveled up so I can test a few things, and I'm going to also run to STV because I want to check out a location that I think could be a pretty good farming spot. No one's going to use Rogue Tank or Mage Healer. If they're good, they'll use them. If they're not good, they won't. That's kind of how it is. I mean, you'll have those fringe people. It's like two-handed enhancement Shaman, right? It's really bad. Like, it's really bad in Classic right now. So you have a few people that uses it, a few people that play it, but there's all these people hyping up like, oh my gosh, man, two-handed Shaman in Classic era, it's just so iconic. It's just so fun. Have you ever played it? It's so satisfying. It's like, okay, go play it. Like, no one is playing it on these servers. Like, go play it. It sucks. It's not fun. It's just like, you're just waiting for big crit opportunities, big Wind Fury opportunities, and most of the time they don't come. And then people will say, well, yeah, no one's playing it because it's not fun right now, so they want Blizzard to change things so that it is fun. And then I'm like, okay, well then, you're not... Like, I feel like the logic in your argument isn't there. You're asking for them to change a spec because of it being iconic, but then you're asking them to make changes to change the way that it plays to make it better. So then it's not about... I mean, like, visually iconic, you could say then, I guess, but not anything beyond that. So that's kind of how I feel about all the classes and all the changes that are coming to things. Like, if Mage is really OP... If Mage is the most OP healer in the game, there are people out there that will play Mage healer that do not even like playing Mage. They just want to parse well, or they want to be invited to groups, or, you know, to say that people just play this game for like enjoyment of class or a class resonating with them. Like, we see firsthand that that's not how it works with like the amount of warriors that are on Classic, or the amount of rogues that are out ganking people in PvP. They do that because it's fun, it's the easiest, it's the strongest, you know, fill in the blank. But I don't know. That's kind of how I see it. I feel like if something's strong, people will play it. If something's weak, there's not going to be as many people playing it. You don't see mages sacrificing DPS for healing. But if it gets them the gear they want, or it's gameplay that's incentivized by people, that people will do it. Mage healer is a chronomancer. Yeah. Like, I know there's a lot of people out there that say that the mage healer, like I was saying, I feel like mage healer doesn't work in classic. People were explaining to me about like the archetype of the chronomancer and everything. Makes sense to me. I understand it. So I get where they came from with making it, but I just feel like it's a little weird. But who cares? I guess at this point, it's like I'm just sitting through the ride that is Season of Discovery. Some stuff might be weird, and they probably won't ever add it into the game then later. Do you think it's a good idea to rush a level 1 at the start of SOD to Gurubashi Arena, eventually have a full day of free chests? No. The only reason I say that is you're going to have people that are leveling, and they're level 10, and the tournament, and it's, 20 minutes until the chest drops, and so they run there on a level 10. They'll kill you. They get that first one, they go back and they keep questing, they get to level 15, and then they come back and they can kill you again. So it's like you kind of have to be out leveling, and I think enough people will try and go get it early on that I don't really think it'll be worth it. There are some other things that I think will drastically change how Gurubashi works, in terms of layering, and then things that you can take with you, and timing of things, but I probably will save that for a later video or something. But I also don't know how many of my little tricks I want to give away, because then obviously I can't really use them, so. And I want to get that trinket just like everyone else. I was saying that I think it would be, if they're doing changes, I would like to see them do one very nice change to Gurubashi. So after I get the trinket, there's no incentive for me to go back to the arena unless it's like I have satisfaction in killing people trying to get the trinket, or I'm trying to help a friend get it, or there's a lot of ores, but there's no like intrinsic like real reason for me to go back. So I think what would be a better idea, in my opinion, is that instead of having to get 12 of the trinkets, I think you should just have to take part in maybe 24 arenas. So maybe if you're there for the initial fight and the initial battle, you get a trinket in your bag, or everyone's able to loot the chest afterwards, and all you get from it is one of the pieces of the trinket, but you have to collect more of them. So you can't, it's not just 12, you have to, let's say, get 24. So it takes a little while, but then there's more participation, more people actually engaging in it, and not just trying to, cleverly CC someone and then get it, or cleverly sneak up on someone, or, collude with someone else to, I'll take it this one, you can have the next one. It would be a little bit better that way, I think, but who knows if they'd do something like that. I would never want to summon a demon, but some dudes in a dank dark room smoking a Marlboro Red loves it. I'm normally a mage main, and I'm considering picking up the healing stuff to off heal for my friends who are going to be a shaman healer. I mean, there'll be a lot of like interesting ways of using the mage heals, even if you're not really healing on a, like, I don't know, healing often. It's just more of like a side thing. So, a healer that can make its own water, sign me up. Yeah, I know, that's the definite beauty of mages. Why am I not going to the other pools? I'm just mainly trying to level it right now, so I'm not too worried about it. But yeah, essentially you'd want to go to the sagefish pools. Like, I think sagefish, raw sagefish, will sell okay. It's like one of the things at 25 that actually has a purpose. It gives you, I believe, like 3 mana per 5 back. But I don't know how sought after it will be. It's obviously better than fishing up like this garbage, a raw long jaw mud snapper, but in terms of right now, I'm just trying to... The sagefish on Classic are more or less useless, so I'm just fishing to level my fishing real fast. I wish I had friends to enjoy SOD with. Yeah, I mean, you just gotta find friends, right? I don't have any friends to enjoy SOD with. I'm gonna just start playing on a server. Hopefully I hear back about some guild stuff maybe. But if not, I'll be in the same boat as a lot of you guys, and I'll make sure to tell people what server I'm gonna roll on. So if any of you guys wanna come play on my server, I'm more than willing to PvP with people or do dungeons, or, you know, can't say much about raiding in terms of that's all up in the air for me right now, but definitely a popular server with a lot of people on it makes the game fun, so the more the merrier. Tank Warlock looks dope. Yeah, it looks pretty strong and also unique, definitely, playstyle wise. Thank you. All my mage friends said to just go full damage, but healing option looks BIS. Yeah, I don't know about BIS, but it definitely will have its place, especially depending on who you're playing with and if it's like PvP, PvE, that kind of stuff. Oh, rip, I'm on EU. Was gonna offer you guys to roll with us. Yeah, I think this is just my observation. I think even if you go into SOD completely blind, you have no one playing it with you, you just pick a server and you go and play on it, you can find people that, you know, either like to PvP or, you know, have the same kind of goals as you just by being active on a server. I'm not really the most involved person when it comes to guilds or, you know, hanging out in discords or whatever, but I've always had no issue finding a group of people to play with. I played SOM and 90% sure it was incredibly infested with fishing bots 2 weeks in, and all the fish I bought for silver at launch didn't go up in value at all. Yeah, that's the sketchy part, I think. But for me personally, with fishing, I'm looking at it as a way for me to get some of the items or the enchants or pieces that I want at level 25. In terms of, like, you know, being able to fish up a level 40 green and then disenchant it so I can enchant some of my gear. So I think it'll probably make really good money at 25, but later in the game I'm not sure. It just really, like you said, depends on the botting situation, and I don't really think Blizzard's doing a very good job of that. So you tried talking your 15-year-old into playing. He was not impressed. Sunbear all the way. Somehow managed to bring some friends to play with me for SOD. Nice. The guild that I'm in right now, it sounds like that some of them are going to play SOD, but they don't really seem very... like it's just going to be like a side thing for them. So... yeah, I will see what happens. Shit posts in world chat, you'll find friends and haters. Yeah, or just like even just being active with doing things. Like, I think one of the easiest ways to find people to play with is you just, you know, if someone's looking for a tank or a healer or something for a group, you just join and chat with them a little bit. And I don't know. With Classic, it's all just about who you randomly play with, and sometimes people will offer you a spot in a guild, or I don't know, lots of people find different ways of getting a group together, so. I haven't played Classic since 2019, 2020. Is the bot problem really bad? It's extremely bad on Classic era. It's basically just like out in the open, bots flying around. I do think that just for an image standpoint, Blizzard probably will be fairly decent about the bot stuff in Season of Discovery for like the first little bit, but who knows how long. And also you have to understand that, well, I don't know exactly how some of these bots work, but bots back in the day, a lot of them are like interacting directly with the game client. So I think probably like players that bot will have to figure out, like basically change some stuff within their programming of their bot to allow it to run on the new servers. So probably will be a while till we see some anyways. But yeah, hopefully they do something about it. I don't know. It's pretty bad. I reported 100 bots last week on Firemail EU and Classic. Only 12 out of 100 were banned. Yeah, I've sat in Light's Hope Chapel and just like watched as bots come out and just reported them. And yeah, it would be like so many that it's just like at that point it's just you realize it's fruitless. And it's funny to me because they could so easily just have someone sitting there, and it's like you watch them do the exact same path. They like run out of the inn, they make like a 90-degree angle turn, go to the mailbox, then they make a 90-degree angle turn and run to the vendor, and then they fly up into the air. And it's like, okay, well that's clearly a bot. That's not a person playing. So you could easily sit there and just ban, hundreds of people each day, and like people are like the botters will start to get some sort of message behind that, like, oh, they're actually starting to ban people. Because before, back in the day, like botting wasn't like as visible, I guess. Like it was still happening, but it was a little bit more like, is that a bot? I think it might be a bot, but now it's just like fly hacking out in the open, just because they're never punished. Or if they are punished, they're punished like 2 or 3 months down the line, so they already made tons of money and it's profitable for them to do it. I think with all the drastic changes they're doing with SOD, they will have to have a more permanent solution for us to transfer to if it's just seasonal, and a regular Classic server won't work. Yeah, I'm curious to see what they'll do about that, or how they're gonna handle that. Did I cap? Am I stupid? Am I sitting here? Okay, thank God. I was like, I hadn't seen a profession tick in a while. I have done that before. Have to eat. See you later. See you, Wind. They usually have GMs doing stuff at the beginning of the launch expansion because the leveling uses tier releases 25, 40, 50, 60. We might see extended GM protection regarding bots, I hope. Yeah. It's frustrating, but I don't know. The problem too is it's like it's an ongoing issue because players in the game are rewarding it by actually, like, if no one bought gold, then bots wouldn't be, I mean, like, you might use a personal bot, but like the botting that we see where it's just so rampant wouldn't be a big deal. Like it or I mean, it wouldn't exist because there's no incentive for it. But right now, like, you'll have someone say like, oh, I hate bots, and then they go around there, they go and buy gold. So like you're just contributing to the problem. The full list of BFD, did it get leaked? Wowhead. See anything here? Edit. New. I don't see anything. Some of the loot was seen at BlizzCon when streamers and stuff were were playing, and so then people added it into databases just because like we know about it. But I don't know if like the whole loot table. If you have any information on that, definitely let me know. When I was botting to level up my alts, I'd alt tab every 20 minutes or so to make sure Billy, the name I gave my bot, bless his soul, isn't stuck in a wall. Bots back then were a lot less advanced and many friends got banned for botting. Yeah. But I've been watching all your videos lately, Ebb and Flow. Thank you for the good content and information. Yeah, no problem, man. Do you use an add-on to manage totems? Not per se. Like I use a weak aura to just track, so it's like more visual for me to track like how long they're up for. So if I decide to what am I trying to say? If I decide to put down all my totems, then like this is how they're displayed to me. So I can see the timers, but I don't have like a dedicated add-on. I also use like for totems, I don't like those are all hotkeyed, but then totems that I don't use as often, I just have a hotkey to bring up a add-on's called OPIE or OP. It's OPIE, and it allows you to make kind of these like a hotkey that allows you to bring up a bar, and then yeah. So I do that for, I also have one for my shield and two-hander, and then one for some other buffs. Because Shaman has like a lot of bloat abilities where it's like abilities that you don't use that often, but you still kind of want access to them. So thanks, we'll have to look into that. Yeah, I suggest looking at some weak auras. There's a lot out there for shamans. Also have a weak aura for like if I put down Wind Fury, you're gonna like hear an audible beep right now. Sometime, maybe not. Oh, maybe I have to. Oh, it's probably when I'm in. It's probably only when I'm in combat. But yeah, when I'm in combat and I put down Wind Fury Totem, it makes a beep at me so that if I am like totem twisting, then I know when to throw down Grace of Air and then back to the other. So there's a few out there like that. Kind of help things out. Sentry Totem, yeah, I think I've literally used Sentry Totem like twice, just because I'm like, what, like how does this work? Like what would I do? What would I use it for? Blah blah blah, and then I never use it again. Farsight actually comes in handy, especially in like Warsong Gulch or something, but beyond that, yeah, like Sentry Totem, I never use it. Gotten any interesting things for SOD whilst fishing? Is that what you're asking? Any interesting things for SOD? Not really. I'll go check this spot right here and we'll talk about some plans. I think I should have high enough to 132 plus 70. I think this is high enough for STV, pretty sure. I want to just feel like it's actually faster for me to Hearthstone, and then we'll just go back to Undercity. How long do you think it will take to reach level 25? I predict 3 to 6 hours of leveling. 3 to 6 hours of leveling. No, I mean if you can level to 25 in 3 to 6 hours, like you are insane. You're like insanely fast if you can go that fast. I would say probably like I feel like the average person just leveling, not trying to go as fast as they possibly can, it'll probably be around 20 hours. And the only reason I say that is people will probably be like out there like discovering stuff, but the metric I go off of is I did a hardcore tournament a while back on Druid, and it was a 10-hour event, and it was just see who could get the highest level in 10 hours. And on my Druid, I was able, and Druid's not like the fastest leveler out there, but it's like, it's pretty quick, and I have experience with leveling. So I did in 10 hours, I got to like level 16, 17, somewhere in there. And obviously that was trying to be a little bit more careful, not dying and stuff, but yeah, I'd say like 15, 20 hours. Yeah, Mr. Joker, that's a pretty good assumption. I'd say something like that. And we don't know, like with runes, it could drastically speed up your leveling, but if they make mobs harder out in the world, it could kind of even that out again a little bit. So I would just plan for, yeah, 15 to 20, something like that. I'm not very good, and I can go to level 20 between 11 to 15 hours, depending on the class. Yeah. That makes sense. Spawns are going to be a fight at launch. Yeah, that's true, too. Gonna have to worry about, or like, server stability, login queues, all those kind of things are things to keep in mind. And it might be one of those things that you hit level 13 or 14 and you're like, hey, I want to just go into RFC and try and bust out a few levels with some friends just because the world is so busy. But also the layering stuff might be that the world is not too bad, so who knows. Some quests can be rushed with other people together. Some will be slower due to the lack of mobs. In your honest opinion, 1 to 8 can be pushed really quickly, and then it slows down in the next zone. Yeah, like for me at Classic launch, I didn't really have, like as a Tauren, I didn't really have too much of an issue, and I feel like they had so many layers that I actually leveled fairly quick, and then I was kind of waiting on the people in my group that were orcs because they had it much worse in the orc starting area. So I think that a lot of it comes down to what race class combo you play. Like, for example, the undead starting area is actually like very nice and fast to level in. Just like the quests and the zone pacing and everything like that. So I think like if you're undead, you can figure in a fairly quick time if you get out ahead of people. But I mean, I would just, this is me as someone who enjoys like going fast and min-maxing and thinking of all the ways I can push the content. But since it's stopping at level, since we know that it's going to stop at level 25, and level 25 doesn't really take that long, all things considered, I wouldn't like put too much stress on it and just kind of go at a decent pace, look around for runes, you know, just enjoy the fresh launch. It's going to take people a bit of time to find the new runes too. Yeah, exactly. That's kind of my thought process. Like, for example, I'm fairly confident that there'll be, like, I could see Lacerate or Survival of the Fittest being in Moonglade when you have to do your bear quest, or somewhere close to the Moonkin in near the crossroads. Something like that. I could see there being a rune tied for the Druid. Obviously, I don't really know exactly how the runes are discovered. I think they're just like in a chest somewhere. But again, I'm not positive of that, so I'm just going to be kind of looking around. Like, for example, in Mulgore, I was thinking about this. It's like there are places in Mulgore that people don't really like. This northern part of Mulgore, people don't really like venture there much. So I could see, because I think they're, from what I've gathered with the rune system, is they kind of want you to feel like exploring, and they want you to go to places that maybe you haven't seen before, or places that you're less likely to go to. And so for me, I'm just kind of, in the back of my mind, I'm going to think about those things while I'm out leveling. So for example, I think people were saying that there's going to be what am I trying to say? There's going to be a rune like around the low levels, like maybe even 2 or something. And if you could grab a rune in the what are these mobs called? The quill boars back in there. I think there's probably something up in there that'd make the most sense to me. Kind of in one of the areas that maybe you don't go to normally. And yeah, I don't know. We'll have to just see kind of where things are. If that makes any sense. You're debating between leveling through dungeons with my guild and open world questing. You could also kind of do this like a mix of things. Like not everyone will be the same exact level, but you can just like, for example, RFC. Meh, I don't really know if there's much point, unless you really want to do it. But outside of that, like if you kind of with your guild just say, hey guys, when everyone's around the level like 18 to 20 range, let's all hop into like a Wailing Caverns run and maybe do like 1 or 2 of them to get a few pieces of gear and then move back to questing. You know, that's probably a decent option. I don't know how beneficial it will be to just spam the dungeons, but hey, if that's what you enjoy and if the world's busy, then it's a decent option. Taking a week off of work, starting 2 days into launch, because we all know what fresh servers are. I mean, that's actually a pretty good idea. Yeah, the fresh launch. It's like you might not even be logging in for the first day with just server instability and getting kicked off and a few times, all that stuff. I'm gonna level a few to 5, park them in the inn, and come back to them with rested XP later. Focus on their main to 25 and space out alts. It's a good idea. I know some people like to level like summoning alts, so that first phase will probably be a great time to do that as well. Okay, I need to think about... I think it's right here. So I know some people are saying that fishing in other areas might be better. Here's some floating wreckage though. Let's even see if I can cast on this stuff. I should probably put on a bauble. But the issue here is the mobs. Let me actually get into the... Ironbound trunk. That's what we're looking for. I think the Tenaris will be better for fishing up trunks. Triangle kelp. Weird. There's like a pool right here. Do you see that? It's like not really like under the water. Look, right here. Weird. So yeah, mobs to deal with here. For sure an issue there, but I wanted to check common fishing OP. Yeah, exactly. You can just stand out in the water with water. You can also do it. Actually, can you do it on a priest? If you levitate and you start casting fishing, does it break it? I would assume it probably still stays. Let's see what's in this chest. Bolt of silk and heavy leather. Definitely not what we wanted. Okay, let me look at this up on Wowhead real fast, so I'm not just running around randomly. Giant clam. Okay, so they're all right here. The problem is I wanted to find something that you could, with cooking, you can make these these this clam recipe, and then you end up getting health per 5 seconds back. However, I obviously don't want to... Hey, look at this guy. I obviously don't want to do something out here if there's murlocs everywhere. But as a druid, I was thinking this would be a decent farm because you'll have aquatic form. I think water walking is above 25. Yeah, it's somewhere right around there. I'm not exactly sure. Maybe it is higher though. Promise your wife you'd get chores done, but you'd rather watch a troll fish. Yeah, sorry about the fishing today, guys. Trying to test some stuff out. I know it's not the most thrilling, but we're trying to make it a little bit better by at least having a decent conversation. Yeah, I don't know how rare these clams are. I've seen them before, but maybe someone else is out here as well. But if they're that much of a pain, then that's obviously not worth. Not a single Warsong Gulch game right now. Yeah, I find that Warsong seems to... Well, actually, normally around now. Yeah, I mean, like, normally right around now, you'll start seeing them. Oh yeah, here's a giant clam, but you have a 36 elite next to it. This is the problem. I just don't know if... I don't think... Like, you could root them and run, but, like, you're going to get a lot of resists, and they're elite. I don't know how worth it is. Let's actually put on a weapon. Go deeper down. Blue pearl. Wait, you can open that and not even get clam meat? That seems a little weird. I know the blue pearls are used for a few recipes. I don't know if any at 25 though. And I feel like you'd probably want to track these spawn points with like a Leatrix add-on, or like Leatrix map kind of thing or something. Blue Pearl is for the Badlands quest. Okay, nice. But my thought was, like, as a druid, you could swim, you could make like a lap in aquatic form, grab the clam meat, while you allow for the fishing areas to, like the pools, to respawn a bit, and that this would be a pretty solid farm. But so far, the location of these clams would be a real pain in the ass. Because it's like a 36 mob is going to resist a lot of your CC, like if you just spam roots on it. And then also, once you get a roots on it, it has a better chance of like heartbeat breaking out of it. So this is probably a no-go. Unless there's like an area where there's not any... It shows right in here though, so I feel like they're all around the murlocs. Here's a question for you. Do SPVPers level blacksmithing first to get glimmering mithril insignia, then drop it for engineering? You won't be able to get that trinket until level 40, I believe. Definitely not 25, but I think it's 40. So that's something to keep in mind. So you could always do 2 other professions at level 25 and then do blacksmithing later. Just things to consider and think about. I don't know. Obviously it's more dependent on like how important that trinket is for your class, if you want to like kind of commit to it or not. Like for a druid, for a shaman, who can't trinket out of it. I mean, shaman, obviously you have tremor totem, but there are some classes out there that want it a little bit more than others. And those classes might be worth it for them. This guy out here doing the same thing. It's hard to say on this server too, like how often you find these clams, because there's just so many people on this server. Do you think Warlock tanks are going to be enough of a kit to be able to maintain MC BWL with all the fire resist? I think that, just a side note, I think they might look at, maybe they'll change some stuff with fire resist. I don't know. We'll see. But that hurts a lot of classes when it comes to those two raids. But maybe they'll just keep it in. Who knows? In terms of, do I think it will have the ability? I'm not sure. Everything at this point would just be speculation. I do think one interesting thing to note is I feel like they're kind of taking a little bit of a different direction with tanking, in terms of, like, if you have 40 people in a raid, you already, like, for example, in AQ, you have Warlocks tank twin imps, so you could also always have it where you know, you have some tank swapping where, like, you might not have the Warlock might just use DPS runes and DPS most of the raid, and then when you get to a certain boss, it might be beneficial for your Warlock to tank it. I could see them doing something like that. For example, rogues currently don't seem to have very much, like, their tanking build doesn't really seem to have much magic, like, mitigation. Like, you obviously can't parry like a frostbolt or something like that, so they might not be very good tanks against some, like, caster bosses or something. I'm leaking your enchanting strat for SOD. Yeah, sorry man, I think this is a lot of people's plans. Trust me, there's a lot of things that I've thought about doing, and then it's like, oh shoot, do I want to show that on stream, or do I want to talk about that in a video? And then I'm like, people probably already know about, you know, it's like, I'm sure like, and this is coming from someone who makes content, but I'm pretty sure that the best option out there for, like, for a farming option, what am I trying to do here? Okay. What is this guy doing? There's also a druid there. I don't know what level. And he got out to that. Interesting gank attempt. Yeah, I think the best gold farm method out there is one that we don't even know about yet, if that makes sense. It'll probably be something that, like, a random person will discover. I mean, like, think of the stuff we've seen with, like, early on in Classic, like the ZF farming, like gold farming for mages. That was completely out of the blue. Someone came up with that. So it'll be interesting to see. For example, at level 30, I was trying to get items. Maybe I was leveling skinning or something. I was in Tenaris and I was mob tagging and then pulling the mobs back to Gadget Zan, and then having the what am I trying to say, the goblins there, the guards, kill it, and then I'd get all the loot from it. And that no longer can work, I don't believe, because you don't get to loot a mob that you didn't do like a X number of health or an X number of damage to. You can't loot that mob if a guard killed it. So what's my leg rune for Shaman PvP, Earth Shield, Way of Earth, Shamanistic Rage. I want them all. Exactly, they're all so good. I think Shamanistic Rage will be better if you are like playing Ellie or something like that, and you're at range more, because you still want to be able to use your interrupt. But like the tank, the Way of Earth one is extremely strong. Obviously, it'll be a little bit more. It's more of like a buff that you have all the time, whereas the Shamanistic Rage is more of a oh shit cooldown. And then the problem with Shamanistic Rage is obviously the mana regen is really, really nice, but then you're also like, you're kind of debating, like, do I use it offensively when I'm going out of mana, or do I need to save it for when I'm wanting to have like a big defensive cooldown? The nice thing is only a minute cooldown, so not too bad. I don't actually know what I'm doing here now. What was my next plan? Oh yeah, I'm going to Hearth. Okay, let's open these trunks. Okay, I literally just got 1 silver from that trunk. That's it. Oh, we got a thick leather. Okay, so very unexciting gambling here on this stream with the trunks. There's like a Scotty J video on fishing those boxes you are fishing now. Don't think it's going to be a secret. Yeah, I think most people do, and I actually don't even know how beneficial it is. Like, obviously you can't take like 4 trunks to mean anything, but like this stuff that I got is pretty underwhelming. Like, you could get this in the same amount of time just killing mobs. Like if you have like a group and you're killing mobs in SM Graveyard, they're level 30. Like, you'll be able to kill them. It just will take a little bit of time, like slightly longer than if you were at 30, and you'll be able to get a lot of cloth that way. Okay, I need to fly. But yeah, guys, feel free to let me know, like, tell me what you guys are thinking about farming, and then we can discuss those things. And I'm always interested in hearing kind of your guys' plans for things. Best gold farm might be just be crafting wands, to be honest. I mean, true. That's definitely the thing is, though, is there's not going to be like, people won't have a lot of money at level 5, or I know like people might be buying them for their alts, but you still will have to sell them relatively cheap. I mean, this is another thing that some like people this is another thing that a lot of people don't know, is the chest from Gurubashi, I think, is like gives you around 3 gold when you loot it. Maybe it's slightly less, but it's close to that. It's like maybe it's like 2 to 5 gold when you loot it. And then you also get a really good blue bracer that you could obviously hold and sell later at the level 50 cap. So just even getting the Gurubashi chest gives you a decent amount of gold. And raw greens. Yes, true. You'll be able to use those greens to disenchant and stuff. It's 2 gold if you sell the trinket. Yeah, but you should be able to. Doesn't the chest itself should drop just gold, right? Gurubashi Arena. I don't know what the name of the chest is to look at the object. I guess I can do Arena Grand Master. My plan is have your main be a miner. First alt grabs herb. Third has alchemy, and they all have Ingi. Nice. Yeah, and then you can kind of cross, like help your alts out by sending mats to whoever has what profession. That's kind of a nice idea. Quest will probably give a lot of gold, but you kind of shoot yourself in the foot for the level 40 bracket. Yeah, I mean, it depends on too, if you at level 25 when they open the bracket, if you just level via dungeons, it would kind of negate that. But yeah, we'll have to see how much gold you get from completing quests. you know, if you can if you can get a good group of geared players at level 25 and you can just steamroll through like one of the higher level dungeons, like let's say SFK, or even maybe push into Razorfront Crawl, and you're able to just destroy mobs in there, it might be good enough gold per hour that way. So we will see. And I mean, some of the classes might have some really good kiting capabilities, and they'll find a unique way of, you know, find a mob that's high level that drops good, like raw gold or raw like venderable items, like gray items or whatever, and then just kill mobs. That's kind of the problem, is like I have some good options for making gold, but I feel like a few days in I might just be like, oh, this, I never thought of this, and this is, you know, way better. So, and we'll have to see just how like needed gold is at 25. You might find that most people kind of get what they need. They're spending some gold here and there on some stuff, but I bet a lot of people just try and save their gold for mounts at level 40, because it would be like hitting level 40 and not having your mount for phase 2 will be kind of shooting yourself in the foot. Hunters are going to be insane even without runes at early levels. Yeah, I think having a hunter, even if you're just gathering, like not even killing mobs, but just having that speed boost, that will help out a lot. And then obviously they're great at soloing content out in the game, so. Make level 25 group, go to Dark Shore to farm level 29 mob for Robes of Arcana pattern. Block quest used at 31. Okay, interesting. There's also, just to point out for people, there are several areas. I thought there was one on... Is there any in Desolus? No, I don't think so. There's this area right here, Dungarok. They drop level 23 to 26 green items. So perfect level for people at 25. Some of the best in slot for players will be located here, including a helm that drops. This is horde only though. And then also there's oily blackmouth that you can fish right here, and that will give you free action potion. So like this area is really good for farming. And then also if you go to wetlands, same area here with the elite dwarves, and then there's a rare orc right over here that drops a super good level 25 leather helm. So there's some open world stuff too that you can do. It's just going to depend on you know, how you like to play. Like if you want to just laid back farming, like do fishing stuff, then that's obviously an option too. Yeah, it's Humbert's helm. It's like 8 stamina, 7 agility, level 25, and it only drops off one mob. It's the rifleman there, and it has like a 4% drop chance, so it's really not too bad of a drop chance. The only problem is like there's only like maybe 1/3 of the mobs there are riflemen, so you have to kill a lot of others. But I did one loop, just like killing the mobs out front, going into the building, killing the mobs in the building, and then coming back out front. I did that on my shaman the other day, and I got 5 greens, and all 5 greens were usable for players, and one was a level 25 necklace, and obviously that's going to be sought after for people. So I could have gotten extremely lucky, and also we have to understand that there's probably going to be competition there. And hey, if I was an alliance looking to have fun, those mobs don't attack me, right? So if I'm there as an alliance, even if I'm only there as one person, I can harass like a group of 5 people there. So it might be one of those farms that is a pain in the ass and no one will even bother with. But that one's always an option as well. Caps and Season Mastery were worthless for the first few weeks due to fishing bots, infinite oily blackmouth. Yeah, see, and that's what kind of scares me, man. But like you said, those materials were really cheap. So you can also, like, not only just farming gold for yourself, but also farming materials for yourself. Like, it's always a good idea for players to look out for some of those profession materials that will still be usable and very useful later at 60, so that you can just buy them up really, really cheap. So that's always something to look forward to. I know there's a lot of people that fish down here, especially like bots. I saw someone made a post about it or something the other day, and I know there's turtles here, but I didn't know if there was pools that you can farm here. I wasn't sure. And then the other question is, are the turtles on this shore neutral or are they hostile? If they're neutral, then you can just fish away. They're neutral, okay. Oily blackmouth. Nice. I wonder if I skill not high enough. So to come here, you need to really pretty much be maxed out. Let's see if I can do it with a lure attached. Okay, so. And also I have baseline fishing pole. You can get better ones. Spent most of your gold buying them up really cheap. The fishing bots, man, the fishing bot, it was hopeless. Yeah, price just kept going down. You're like, I think I bought out the bottom. Sucks, man. Hopefully they'll be less fishing bots early on, but it seems like it would be lucrative, so that is something we'll have to worry about. Yeah, I know about my fishing skill, just to put this into perspective, is 134 with 75 for the bobble, so probably want to be pretty much maxed out before coming here, because that was 2 missed cast, and that's super annoying. It was impossible to buy out the market. Really hope it doesn't happen again, but you know, yeah. I just feel like, I don't know, a lot of answers that Blizzard gives when they're giving like a Q&A or something, I totally get. Like, they'll say something about balance. They'll say, I know we know players want that, but we just have to worry about balance, and it would be difficult for us. And I can be like, yeah, I understand that. That would be hard, but like them, anytime they mention like botting and whatever, I really don't have any kind of sympathy for that, because I just feel like it's like complete lies. Because I know as a player myself just how easy it is to spot bots. Like, I could put a stop to thousands of bots every day if I just took a minute to attempt, and that alone would discourage people from doing it as like blatantly, which obviously doesn't solve the problem, but right now it's like people don't even care. Right. Well, I mean, exactly. I saw the post, Lemmings, the other day that said like they took action and bought and they banned over like, I think it was 200 and it was like 200,000-ish bots, right? Now, us as players were like, oh my god, that's a huge amount of bots. But then if you think about that from Blizzard as a company perspective, that's a huge amount of money that now they're not going to get that next month. So it's like, well, you hope that the players using the bots are now buying more accounts, but if they're only banned or suspended for like 2 weeks, then it won't really matter anyways. And it's just like, I don't know, it just like doesn't seem like they want to fix it. So I don't know. Hopefully they end up doing something. There's hardly any bots on private servers. Was only a few people actually monitoring for them, but Blizzard can't. Yeah, the funny thing about this, guys, is I was playing on Northdale, okay? I had a level 60 Druid on Northdale, and I think it was like a hunter. I wanted to level a hunter, and you couldn't multi-box. Like multi-box was banned. So I had my hunter on follow, and I was going around killing mobs to complete quests. And like I got teleported to a GM area, and they like basically gave me a warning saying like you can't do that. And I was like, oh shit! Like I never have seen anything like that or experienced anything like that, and it was like on a private server. So it's just funny to me that Blizzard claims they can't do anything about it, and it's like, I don't know, just frustrating. It's like, I'd actually rather they just be honest with us. They're like, sorry guys, it's just like, honestly, bots are bringing in like such a huge amount of our revenue, and we just can't do it, guys. I'd be like, okay, well, at least I can respect you for being honest. But it's just like them saying there's nothing they can do, and you know the bots are so, you know, they'll outsmart them if they you know, let any secrets loose about how they're combating it. It's like, I mean, I can combat it by just literally sitting at Lice Hope Chapel and banning people all day long. Yeah, they were nervous when that came up, Lemmings. I noticed that. He was like, you know, doing all the PR talk about like just really choosing his words carefully and everything, and then you look at every other question they had and they were pretty open about everything. Yeah, I definitely think they know more than they're saying, yeah, for sure. Which is funny too, because you have people like, I don't know, like the big streamers like S-Fan at Asmongold, and those people who like openly talk about it all the time and say it's like a huge problem, and you'd think that the negative PR that they're getting from it and the negative outlook that players have about botting is a big enough deal that it outweighs the money that they're bringing in from the bots, but maybe not. I don't know. The funny thing too is all the like almost every single one of those bots is going to be using like a VPN or whatever to get the account in countries where the price of a subscription is like super low. So we think like, oh, you know, they're making so much money off these accounts, and they definitely are just because of how many bots there are, but they're not making the $15 or $12 that people are paying for the accounts. They're making something more like $3 per account. They're good. That thing that they're hiding the anti-botting tech. Otherwise, we'd have bots in the game. yeah, exactly. And I remember back in the day, like in 2012 or something, they like added like some program to WoW that was called like Warden, and it basically monitored for a lot of these illicit activities on accounts, and so it like really shut down botting for a long time. And then I'd assume they still have Warden, but I guess it's just completely useless as of now. But it seems like they'd have something that they could do, and maybe they're working on something. I mean, that's what we can all hope for, but other than that, I don't know. So what I wanted to check over here is if there's actually pools, because I knew a lot of people like to come. Problem is the turtles are not neutral here. I think you can park characters along the coast down here to fish, but I don't know if there's actually pools down here. Illidan killed their warden. Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, I don't know. I don't see a single pool down here. I guess you're really relying on this coast, because you can't even really do it in here because of the pirates. And the problem too is you can't even use your pet. Can't even use your pet to protect you with fishing for a hunter, because I remember when you enter combat from fishing, you can't recast your line. You can finish the cast you have, but you can't like continue casting. So you couldn't like put your pet on, like have a tanky pet and then put your pet on the mob. and then finish fishing, you have to stop and kill the mob. Yeah, there's no pools down here. Okay, so I don't know. I thought fishing was gonna be like the thing, but I'm kind of starting to feel a little less hopeful about fishing, especially if a lot of people are doing it. It'll just kind of let me see here. I wonder. I wish I had like a 60 mage or something, because then I could go and test some of the farming areas, and it'd be pretty easy, but Shaman's so slow to kill things. It'll be a 4 a.m. kind of thing. Yeah, I think fishing is like a solid option. Like, one, I think everyone should level their fishing, because like the fishing tournament, if you can get the 15 stamina helm or the 12 stamina boots, or even like the fishing lure that turns you into a fish, that can come in handy for different things. Like, all of that stuff is definitely a good thing to look at to do at 25. And if they do have the fishing tournament in, that'll be that Sunday, which is like 3 days after the launch. So definitely something to look at there. And then also, when they gave an interview, I have it clipped right here, it says they were talking about like changes to the outside world and what else they could change outside of just Ashenvale. And they said whether that's PvP events or new world bosses, whether there are things to discover that aren't necessarily associated with new abilities, maybe there are new elites in certain zones, or even events related to the fishing tournament. So they have specifically mentioned the fishing tournament, so there's a chance for some things to be different with the fishing tournament, or possibly new items or loot that you're able to get from fishing. So regardless of the farming, I think fishing will be strong. Outside of that, though, I don't really know what my go-to... I really had my heart set on this as a druid. I was going to farm right here, and then let me show you the clams. Giant clam. We open this up and show this window. So this is a cooking recipe, and it gives you 8 stamina and spirit. And there are only a few other recipes that give you a food buff that's just as good as this. And if you can farm this early on, it would be a pretty solid option. So, evening, how's it going? Talking about the BIS prof. Yeah, talking about the strength of fishing, but I also am I'm starting to kind of feel a little doubt in terms of fishing, personally. So, I don't know if it's going to be... like, I'm going to focus on it, on at least leveling it up, but I don't know if it's going to be how I actually farm. Do giant clams drop black pearls? No, they drop, I just got one. They drop blue pearls. I actually got 2 of them. So... yeah, we opened 4 waterlogged crates. I forget what their exact name is. I think it's waterlogged crates. And we were able to get some leathers and some silk cloth. So I don't know how I don't really know how I'm feeling about this as a farm. I think RFK, honestly, might be, one, the most enjoyable farm, because you get to play with your friends, right? So it'd be like a group of 5. And then also it has like... where do I want want to go? It has a huge upside to things, right? So to explain that, you're getting raw silver from the mobs, you're getting cloth from the mobs, you're getting what else? Cloth, raw silver. You can't skin. You can skin some of the boars in there, but beyond that, it's not. Skinning is not really going to be effective there. But yeah, raw mobs, cloth, and then they drop. What am I doing? Okay, they drop trash items that only are inside RFK. You don't find these out in the world, at least most of them. And they drop things like Mantle of Thieves, this is hands down the best item for majority of leather wearers at 25. They drop some really good bracers, the chest, things like the chest and this dagger, and I think that's it. So there's the chest and the dagger, which sadly you can't use till 26, but everything else on there is up for grabs, and things like this, the Staff of Shade. I would be impressed if there's a better option for this or than this. Maybe in the raid you'll find something better than this, but this is really strong. So, and then obviously every single mob in there has like greens on their loot table, which they can drop, and you can obviously use those greens to either disenchant for enchanting recipes or for gold on the auction house. So happy you're back. Love the streams. Thanks, man. Appreciate it, Cody. Was that a Jack Sparrow reference? Oh, I didn't catch it. I didn't make a reference on purpose, but maybe one inadvertently happened. The only thing out of the dungeon really that you can use at 25 is some shoulders, which are not that great. I mean, in a PvE situation where you're just looking for some high int shoulders, these might hold you over for a little while, but the only other thing is this polearm is actually pretty good for hunters. I'll show you. Let's see. So, funny enough, and this is kind of goes to my point, if we look at hunters, so they have added some of the pieces into 60 upgrades. Here is this spear from RFK. This spear is from the raid BFD, and it's only 8 agility. So this spear is actually a lot better as a stat stick. Now, for the DPS that you get from this polearm, if you're using it, if you're a class and you're using this for the damage aspect, yeah, obviously this one's a lot better. But if you're looking at it for just the raw stats on it for a hunter, this is going to be your best option. And there's actually, like, even if you look at like one-handed options, you could do 2 prison shanks. That would take you a while to farm, especially on Horde. But even this is still 1 agility less. So if you care about that kind of stuff, then yeah, this polearm is actually pretty good for hunters out there. Okay, let's go check out this. I'm happier and love the streams more. Thanks, man. It's not a competition though, guys, okay? I think the challenging thing, though, is maybe you'll have to get people that want to run this dungeon for, like, because there's not really any items that you're looking to acquire. SFK might be easier to convince people to run it because there's a lot more usable pieces in there for every class. And obviously there's still some really good trash drops that are from SFK. So you might have easier time putting groups together with SFK. But I think if you have some friends and you guys are specifically looking to make some money for the auction, for selling things on the auction house, getting cloth, all that kind of stuff, I think you're probably better off with Razorfang Crawl. I checked out the graveyard too, and it's decent. One thing is, if you have a rogue in your group, have him definitely level lockpicking, because in the first room of SM Graveyard there is a chest, and oftentimes it's locked, but it almost always drops a green item that is like the perfect level for players. It's like right around 24, 25. And then there's oftentimes another chest in the courtyard, so those are always good to look for. In terms of the gear, I'm pretty sure everything is like, yeah, too high for people, even the trash stuff. I think there's one item that you can get from SM, which is like extremely strong for like bear tanks or like shamans who are tanking. It's these boots. They have 11 stam. You can't really get anything that's even close to this. Even the fishing boots that you can get from the fishing tournament is 12 stamina, and so it's actually only 1 stamina more, but it has less armor, and obviously you don't get the strength and stam, so, or I mean strength and spirit, so those are really, really, really good. But I think that's about all you can use from there. Head splitter, it's pretty strong too. Obviously if you're horde side, this won't matter as much, because you'll probably be getting the quest one. Oh, sorry guys, that's a little bit of a yikes, but I was just showing these boots right here, Harbinger boots, and then this is the axe that I was showing. But those are that's kind of my opinion on a lot of those other pieces. Is it's just a little bit more, I guess, how much time do you want to spend doing things, right? Like, if you're bored and you don't have things to do at 25, then yeah, sure, going for that little bit of extra stamina on a piece or a little bit of extra damage, then you might end up thinking it's worthwhile. But I feel like a lot of people probably won't go as crazy with kind of the early level stuff, and I don't really blame them. I think it's probably a little bit pointless. But again, the 25 bracket might only be here once, and it could be a lot of fun. One thing I hate is how you have to tag everything before you can put down a fire totem. Otherwise a mob will just kill it. Shaman definitely, like, in Classic is just so annoying to farm with. So yeah, a lot of cloth from here. Mobs are dropping like a silver each. But you have to realize that's split between your party. Use a grenade to tag him quick. Yeah, that's a super good option too. But I am currently completely out of them. I'm going to be lazy and very basic gear so I can level the main tunes I want and then go live in Ashen Vale. Yeah, the way I kind of am looking at it is I'll probably do a lot of dungeons the first week or so, just because there's going to be a lot of people that are trying to jump in and do dungeons. And then most of my Druid's gear comes from, you know, like dungeons or quests. So I'll just take care of those, and then kind of like you said, I'm going to focus on like leveling up some alts and just enjoying all the Ashen Vale stuff for the most part. And guys, these mobs drop the watermelon, okay? Those are very valuable when it comes to feeding your pet, the ones that take fruits, okay? So you might want to come here and farm the watermelon. It's not like you can just buy it from a vendor. The nice thing too about fishing though is also the Rumsey rum and stuff. That is nice at 25. You always get a boar, they eat everything. Yeah, that's a nice thing. Oh, what was the pet that I got? I think it was a bat. Because I think the bats only eat fruit and... Or was it... It was some weird pet. Yeah, that it was only eating fruit and like bread or something. And I was just like, it was such a pain. I was having to like look on Wowhead to see... It was like the vendors in Orgrimmar were only selling meats, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is such a pain. So, ooh, that would have been nice. At level 26, green chest with plus 17 shadow damage. Too bad it's not 25. That is the problem with this dungeon. The highest greens you can get are 26, so you can get unlucky and get some that are just slightly outside of the level bracket. But obviously you can just disenchant those, and enchanting will definitely be a good money maker at the beginning for a lot of people. I'm also curious to see. I know they showed mana oil for enchanters, but it'd be nice to see if it'd be nice if some like cool, you know how in Molten Core you get some enchanting recipes that are rare. It'd be really cool if there's a few enchanting recipes that drop within the raid that give you some different cool enchants, like for the lower level content, like a baby spell power enchant or a baby crusader or something like that. It'll be hard to level enchanting to 225. Yeah, but I think the cool thing about enchanting is you don't really have to level it as... Like, you can just advertise that you have these recipes, and then players will kind of level it for you, in a sense. And that'll be nice, because there are some enchants that people are going to want that are from, you know, the mid 100s in terms of leveling skill, and then there's obviously quite a few that are up in the 200s where you have to actually go get them in Uldaman. So that is is the enchanting trainer is located outside of the dungeon, right? Because I was just thinking that, like, what level do you have to be to get in? Uldaman. I think he's in the dungeon. Yeah, that's kind of what I was worried about. I know it's like is inside. Okay, yeah, I know it was like you go in the back door for the easiest way. You can enter SM at level 25. I wonder what level you can enter Uldaman. Zone. Classic. Well, 42 to 52. We know that, but what is the lowest level? Oh my gosh, Uldaman at 40, guys, by the way. Like, oh, if someone can get their hands on a Pendulum of Doom or something, that's gonna sell for so much. A minimum for the instance is 30. So some of these recipes we won't even be able to get. Damn. I didn't actually think about that. Let's see. I'm trying to see if it... 1 to 300 Enchanting guide. I know they have a link to that on there. I wanted to see if... I know there's the Enchanting... Guys, there's an Enchanting trainer for Alliance, though, in that tower outside. Does that go all the way? You think it's 200 to 250? Yeah. So Horde, yeah, there's a Expert. And then... Oh yeah, and then there's an Enchanting trainer outside of Sunrock Retreat and Stone Talon. I remember those. It's located in the Uldaman dungeon between the map chamber and the temple hall. She only spawns after you clear the surrounding scorpion trash. That's for level 20 or 225 to 300 though. So I don't know if that would even matter. I don't think it will. But I could have sworn there was like an enchanting recipe that she gives. Maybe not. I'll have to check on that stuff, guys. But I think with the time it takes to kill mobs in this dungeon, I think what you do is you come up to here and you clear all these, and then you would go out and reset, because past here the mobs get a little bit higher level and then they start having opportunities to drop even higher level greens, and those are the ones that you're probably not going to want to deal with. I haven't been hyped for WoW since, or this hyped for WoW since 2019. I wish we could just port to November 30th. I know, I'm right there with you, man. For the patience of a child. The hype is real. I mean, it's the first time that people that enjoy classic WoW are truly getting... I mean, outside of like private servers, obviously, which you can make an argument for. Besides that, we've never seen anything like this, so it will be a unique experience. Even if it ends up not being a good experience, even if people have a lot of complaints about the game and don't end up liking it, it is definitely a new experience. 17 days, I know. I swear this using a shield and a one-hand is probably honestly more fun than two-hand Shaman in PvP. I know I'm killing lower level things, so I'm proccing like a crazy amount of crits and Wind Fury, but... The 2 times I've come in here and tested it, though, like, I haven't really hit the jackpot with... I'm gonna try and go to... I'm gonna go back to Dungarok real fast and see if it was just luck that one time. Because I'm telling you, that time that I went to Dungarok, I got so many greens, and it was like very little time that I was there. Plus we might find the cringe players there. There's like these it's actually hilarious. There's these people. Oh, Octane, I didn't know he copied his character over. I used to raid with this guy. Yeah, that zone was just, or that area was just great for greens, but the problem is the alliance there. There's this guy. Where did you find, or what did you find in your fishing test, and what were you hoping to find? So I was trying to see what level mobs were around the areas that I wanted to check out. If those areas seemed like they'd be safe to fish at level 25, and then also I wanted to fish up some of the crates and see kind of what was often found in them. So now when I'm not streaming later, I'm going to go back and fish there more to get a larger sample size. But so far I was a little bit underwhelmed with the crates. I had 4 crates and I ended up getting literally 1 crate didn't drop anything but silver, and then I got bolt of silk cloth, thick leather, and heavy leather. And obviously it takes a while to fish through those, or in those pools. I also was able to get some strangle kelp and a few fish in some of my casts, but I just feel like with the amount of people that are probably going to be trying to fish, you're already going to have competition for those pools. And then when you do fish those pools that have the crates, it's like, I don't really know if it ends up being worth it. And that'll just be something that I have to do more tests, because I could have got unlucky with only 4 crates. But that's kind of what I was checking out. Hey mate, do you think warrior will be any good? I'm about hunter or warrior, just don't know. Would you like to see hunter melee like on retail survival? Thanks, the answer. I think warrior's gonna be good. I don't think Blizzard would hurt them that much. I think they're just probably not gonna be as strong as they are in classic. Like, hopefully other classes can compete in DPS against them. Hunter's changes look amazing. I think Hunter looks like a lot of fun. My biggest takeaway from the Hunter stuff, though, is a lot of their gameplay mechanics and stuff still remain. So I think Hunter just has a higher skill ceiling. Like, there's a bigger skill gap between like a bad hunter and a good hunter, and like the possibilities there, versus a bad warrior and a good warrior. So if you feel like you are up for the challenge and you want to get really good at hunter, or say you already are really good at hunter, then I think hunters are an awesome choice. But if you don't want something that probably has a little bit of a learning curve in terms of like pet management and trapping and kiting and everything, I think warrior's just overall easier. A real good spot for fishing is the lake north of Dalaran Crater, Lordmere Lake. Nothing aggressive there and good pool spawns. Okay, nice. Yeah, and there's like there's pool spawns here too that also drop the chests, and those ones drop like green items between level 16 and 25 or something like that. So those chests you could be selling on, like the greens you get out of there, you could sell on the auction house for people to actually equip. The chests that I was looking at in STV and then also in Tanaris, those chests you're hoping to get greens out of them so that you can disenchant the green items and get higher level enchanting materials that will come in handy for some of the harder and higher level enchanting recipes. SOD drops on the 30th. I believe it's like probably going to be I think normally it's like someone said the other day, it's like the past times that classic servers have come out, like whether it was TBC Wrath or original classic, it was like 3 p.m. Pacific time. So just know that it's probably going to be similar time for that. So yeah, these mobs, like I said, the riflemen, these ones, these are the ones that drop the helm. So they don't drop from just any mob here. And I'm just critting these guys like crazy. My Wrath Guild raids that night, so I'll get a late start. Yeah, no worries, man. I don't think it's gonna be that intense too, where you're like since it's capped at 25, I don't think honestly you might actually be better off that way. In the past with launches, you know, sometimes things are delayed, they push stuff back, servers are super unstable, or there's like a rollback because of something, or there's a huge queue time. You probably aren't missing much. We'll have to see how many servers they have as well. Oh, guys, I actually have I have a hidden tech too. I don't know if it works. I will actually check it before I get off. I'll check it. I'm just gonna kill a few of these. See if we can get any greens to drop, or if last time I was just super lucky. But yeah, these mobs might not. I mean, people are gonna want the helm, right? Sorry, my dogs are freaking out. $24 leather. Here's a decent piece for a lion side druid. There's a quest item that you can get that's like on horde side that's like 12 AP, but yeah, this is like the perfect zone for mobs that drop appropriate level greens. Am I liking the look for Shaman and SOD? Yeah, it looks like it's going to be a lot of fun. I think anyone that's... I know there's a lot of drama about the two-hand Shaman stuff, but I don't care. I think dual wield Shaman has much better, like, ooh, some decent pants. 24. See, I'm telling you, like, I've already gotten 2 greens here. This spot seems very strong. But yeah, back to that. I think the dual wield stuff seems way better in terms of more like leveled DPS. So it's like you're not waiting for those insane lucky moments, and you're able to have better uptime on everything. So I don't know. We'll see if they choose to do anything for two-hand Shaman, but if they don't, I personally am not upset. I understand some people really care about that, but everything else looks great. I think Shaman has one of the... Whew, guys, see, this is what I'm telling you. I'm telling you guys, this spot is juicy. If I got this on my Druid, this would be GG. 10 strength, 10 stam. Guys, this spot... I'm gonna finish killing some mobs here, but a blue mace, this mace is huge. Like, I'll finish killing these mobs just to show you that it's not just luck either. Like, these mobs seem to have a crazy drop chance of stuff. I don't know. Yeah, I mean, if that would be like that's like a guaranteed probably like 50-ish gold on Season of Discovery servers, and then obviously you're splitting that between however many people you're here with. But I came here on a level 25 priest, and I was able to survive against these mobs just fine. So it's like, obviously if you're here all by yourself, it's going to be extremely slow farming these, and I wouldn't recommend it. But like being here with like 2 or 3 people, especially if you've gotten some decent gear already from dungeons, like this place is nice. Yeah, my friend group is going Horde, so I'm tempted to go Shaman just because I've never been able to since we were always alliance. Yeah, Shaman, if you have a group of friends and none of them are going Shaman, I would definitely pick it up, because one, it is a great additive to groups, just like all the things that it gives to a party and everything. That alone is worth it, but also I think the gameplay is going to be pretty rewarding. Like, especially at 25, Shaman's going to have some pretty crazy quest items that they can get on Horde side, and some really good runes that we've seen. Like, I feel like this spot is so good that I actually was like thinking about not discussing it, but I think enough people know about it, especially like tons of people put Humbert's helm in on their character as like it's their best option, and so then people say like, oh, where can I get this, and they look it up. So I think the downside to this area is, while I think it drops greens like crazy and they're the appropriate level, I think that there's probably going to be a decent amount of competition here, and you're in a zone with alliance players, and these mobs are going to be friendly to them, so you run the risk of like really a lot of obnoxious PvP stuff and whatever. But hey, that's what Classic's all about, and probably will end up having some pretty funny memories here. Yeah, the alliance defending it is definitely an issue. Evan, love the videos. Can you explain why strength is good for Druid? Yeah, so strength gives you raw attack power, right? So I don't remember what expansion they changed it, where it's like, I'm pretty sure later in WoW, like you just want agility, but in Classic, both stats are strong. Obviously, agility gives you armor, it gives you crit chance, it gives you dodge. It gives you all those stats, but the thing that's really nice about strength is it gives you that, like per 1 strength you get 2 AP, so it's going to give you a nice big bonus to your attack power, and yeah, so that's why it's a good stat. This river is where I farm fishing for my twink. Yeah, and two, that's the other, I mean, you make a good point. Not only is this area good for these mobs, but you also can, there's a lot of oily blackmouth pools on the coast. And there's like level 30 Nagas that have a similar loot pool as these guys do, but just obviously lesser. Like they have a less chance of dropping the greens. Iron veins as well, yeah. Okay, guys, we need to get another green though, so I can at least prove my point. But yeah, that blue item's huge. So it's like, if you get a few good greens an hour here, like say you're here for like an hour with some friends, and you're able to get 2 or 3 greens, and you get like several stacks of silk, it might be completely worth it. And the mobs drop like 2 to 5 silver each. Well, maybe not 5, let's see. 2, 3, oh, 3.99. Yeah, so it looks like between like 2 to 4 silver. So split amongst your party members. I mean, like, just the silver alone from the mobs is not horrible. And they're also dropping a lot of trash drops. Actually, I think those were from my time at whatchamacallit, but still. I don't know. Mainly I want to come here on my Druid for the chance at the helm, but I don't know if it will end up being worth it or not. Because they only drop for the riflemen, and there seems to be a lot of mountaineers, but Oh my, you have got to be kidding me. You have got to be kidding me. Dude, another juicy blue. Are you kidding me? This should have been the run, guys. This should have been the... Guys, this is like dream druid loot right here. Yeah, these gloves are BIS. These are the best gloves you can get. You could make a case for the... I mean, obviously you can make a case for the leatherworking gloves, but if you don't want to go leatherworking, these are huge. And then obviously you could just swap out when the leatherworking gloves are on cooldown. But dude, I'm telling you, this area is just... I should not have said anything, guys, because this area is not going to be worth it anymore. There's going to be too many people here. I don't know. I could have gotten completely lucky, but to put things into perspective, I basically did a full clear. I think there was a few other mobs in there, and then there's some over here I'll kill while I'm talking. But in one full clear, I got 2 blues, okay, and then obviously I didn't loot a lot of the other stuff, but you get a lot of trash items and things that you can sell. But that's in one quick run, so I can't imagine if you were here for a while the kind of stuff that you could get. And to be quite honest, so this area, great for Horde, right? Alliance, sorry, snooze you lose, but should we go there too? I'll go there too, but the Alliance spot is just as strong, basically. You can't get the headpiece, but all the other pieces, I looked through the greens that can drop, and they drop basically the same loot. The ones here in this dwarf area in wetlands. So that might be another good option. There's no way that you'll get loot like that ever again. I know, that's why I'm so sad about it, because it's like those... And the funny thing too, to just rub salt in the wound, is like these are both the like crazy pieces that if I saw those on my druid, they're the exact things that I would want, right? That's hilarious though. Yeah, these both are extremely strong at 25. I don't really think you're gonna get anything. Actually, let's do this real fast. Let's go in here and go to my druid. So I have Wolf Claw on him because I was just like, dude, I don't think I would get the other ones. And I was thinking about doing RFK as a farm. But I feel like at this point, in the Wolf Claw, the only thing you're going to get differently from this is you're going to get more crit. But I still think the brawlers are equally amazing. And then Smite's Mighty Hammer is better for PvE, but for PvP, the best thing you can get is Dense Triangle Mace, which is what we got, or the Slag Hammer, which again, it's from RFK and it's a low drop chance. So obviously this one has 1 more strength on it, but beyond that, yeah, I don't know, crazy items.